sailing the Red Sea. So far, we've been to the crossroads that is Djibouti, the ancient port of Sudan in Sudan, and the sampled modern metropolis of Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. We've decided that we want to check out another destination that is only now opening up to cruising yachts, Aqaba in Jordan.
We've got around 600 miles to sail. But this is the Red Sea, and the constant northerlies promise that we'll spend most of this time under motor. Good afternoon, JYC. Thank you for a wonderful time. We are departing at this moment. Really enjoyed it. There for a while, he's in really good condition. He's caught now and he's dead now, so he's going to be eaten. A nice meal on passage helps a lot to make the miles go by a little more easily. Stir fried fish, steamed fish with ginger and shallots. We have pork belly slow braised in soy sauce with broccoli and rice. Now, on the third day, around halfway through our passage, we had to stop. There were some big winds coming from the north, and we needed to take shelter for a couple of days to wait those winds out. Our agent had told us that stopping along the coast for shelter was no problem at all. So our little flotilla of 3 boats chose the lower part of an extensive reef system as a good place to hide from the weather.
I feel a little bit better, but since 2 years, I didn't get any seasick, but the day before yesterday, I really got seasick.
How bad was it?
Very bad. But that, I think this part 3 days is really hard and bored.
Oh, just motoring to windward.
Yeah, motoring all the time and very bumpy. Nothing interesting.
But now we have 20 miles to go, and what's happening? The sails are out and we're actually moving along.
Yeah.
But as we approached the area, a very fast Coast Guard patrol boat came racing towards us. Over their loud hailer, they called out to us to stop. We were doing close to 9 knots in 25 knots of wind at the time, so that was not a demand that we could easily meet. Through a combination of yelling across the water and talking on the VHF, we got our message across of our intentions, and they left.
We then had another problem. We had to get safely in behind the reef. The charts in this part of the world often do not have much detail, and relying on them for close-in navigation is dangerous.
So we have other tools available that give high-resolution satellite pictures that we use in these circumstances to try to find safe water. Now, here is a picture of the general area that we want to go to get to the anchorage. And here is the same area on a capture from the chart. There is a gap showing on the chart, but it is not in the same place as it looks on the satellite pic. If we zoom in on the pic, we can see an area of darker water in the middle, and that usually means that the water there is deeper. So in we go through there.
It's very scary when we do this because we don't know exactly what will be in front of us. We got in okay and found a good place to anchor, then settled in for the night.
Now, the next morning, the Coast Guard were back. This time they wanted to tie up alongside and go through our travel documents.
I got to talking with him after a while, and he relaxed a little. I even got a tour of his boat. He was clearly very proud of his command. It can do 62 knots and has a machine gun and a lot of electrical. This is
Yeah. Oh, wire? That's pulling something.
For 3 days, we stayed and watched the wind, whilst the Coast Guard watched us. One time we had to move when the wind shifted, and that made them even more nervous. Look at our dinner.
Yeah, so Captain's choice tonight. Steak cooked in butter and garlic. Yum, yum, yum. Little round potato things you buy at the supermarket. Homemade coleslaw. Avocado sauce. Red wine.
It's our red wine. It's for the Anchorage dinner. And
Yeah,
we are leaving tomorrow.
We're going on passage tomorrow, so we need a good feed.
Yeah.
And this is a good feed. Yeah. Okay.
On the morning of the 4th day, we walked to a beautiful day, and finally we could get out of town. Not straight away though. Our anchor chain had wrapped itself around a rock 7 meters down, and the poor captain had to get into the chilly water at 6 o'clock in the morning to dive down to clear it.
another morning departure, but this one's a little bit more interesting. So we've just been sheltering for 2.5, 3 days on the coast of Saudi Arabia in this reef system that they have here on the mid-north coast. And it's been an interesting time because the place where we sheltered, we were absolutely not welcome, and we caused some ruckus with some of the authorities. The local Coast Guard were good, they looked after us, they were kind, but they did watch us for a couple of days, just sitting there watching. Now, why is all this happening? The area that we've chosen to shelter, we had to shelter because of the winds, is a place where the Saudis are creating a whole new concept of holiday making that's a bit similar to the Maldives. It's an enormous project, and it's the Saudi answer to Dubai. Between now and 2030, the project, which is called the Red Sea Project, is part of the Vision 2030 program of Saudi Arabia, will have over 50 luxury hotels, 8,000 hotel rooms. There'll be a couple of marinas or more, and about 1,000 residential properties, all by 2030. It's a really big deal, and what they want to do in the Vision 2030 program is to invite and welcome lots more people to the kingdom. Just not right now, thank you. On we sailed northward up the Red Sea and then turned right into the Gulf of Aqaba. As the last day dawned, and with 60 miles still to run, the wind came up behind us and we got a good run, and that should get us there before dark. The scenery as we sail through this gulf is really quite spectacular.
The other side is Egypt, this side is Saudi Arabia. We're in the middle. I was getting very excited to see a new country, and I had a great time taking selfies and the landscape pictures for my Chinese WeChat blog.
Very good.
By the afternoon, the wind was really blowing. We had the sails out wing on wing. The boat was going very fast, and then apparently the wind was over 22 knots on our boat, with 10 knots of the boat speed, and sometimes faster. That means the true wind was somewhere around 30 knots.
And it started pulling the front of the boat around, and the faster the boat goes, the more it wants to go up because it's getting more and more speed, more and more power in the rig. The autopilot's supposed to make opposite rudder to stop though, and usually it does, and that's the only problem you've really got, is it overswings back the other way. This time the autopilot wasn't strong enough, and so the boat just kept going round and round and round and round up to like 90 degrees of the wind, and I had to end up holding it with the wheel, and even then that was a touch and go whether I'd get it back again or not. I should have seen it coming, of course. Successive squalls were passing through, but I felt the boat was handling them well. But then the autopilot started to get overwhelmed. Then there was a squall that was much bigger than the rest. And when it came up, the rudders were just not up to the task of holding the boat square on with that sail configuration. And as the boat speed climbed above 15 knots, she started to round up. There was a lot of noise and chaos, and we had to cut the headsail sheet free and then furl it in. And the wind had turned out by that time to be 48 knots. Now CathayOz sat nicely just off centre with the full main up as we slowly mushed downwind and waited for the squall to die. Eventually the howling slowed. We were able to get the main down, reset the headsail, and sail meekly into Aqaba.
After that adventure, I was so glad when we entered the marina and were able to get a little bit out of the wind and the waves in the Gulf.
We were welcomed on the dock by a bit of a circus. First there was the Marina media team who wanted an arrival video, and then the official party came on board. Now they were by far the biggest we've ever seen, and they really wanted to see absolutely everything. Yeah, not many yachts come this way yet, so our arrival is a bit of a thing, and we just had to be patient. And at the end of that though, we were in the country.
Hello, Aqaba.